As fantastic a CFP as Mel O is, as wonderful an attorney as I am, and as good as Stormy is at whatever it is he does, please do note that anything said in our podcasts are our opinions alone and are not meant to be taken as financial or legal advice.
Welcome to Finances, the Other F Word, a Gen Xer podcast for musicians and music lovers, where we discuss money and music without all the pretentious bullshit. Here are your hosts, Zoe Terry, attorney at large, Stormy Andrews, founder of Yokel Local Marketing, and Mel O, certified financial planner and author of Finances, the Other F Word. Listener discretion is advised.
The other day, I'm at Red Rock, right? And I thought about you because you're like such a gas monster. I never have gas. Like, I don't fart. Like, and not just because I'm a lady, but I don't fart. I don't belch. I don't do that kind of stuff. So I'm at Red Rock, and I'm on the elevator, and for some reason, I have to fart. And I'm like, okay, nobody coming, nobody on the elevator, so I fart. And it's audible. I mean, it's not like, but it's audible. And then I'm like, okay. And then literally 2 seconds later, this hot fucking guy gets on short brown hair. He's wearing a dress shirt, but you could see his muscles underneath. And he comes in, and all of a sudden, my voice got really, really loud. Like, somehow I thought that my voice would cover up any potential smell. And I was like, oh, hey, I'm sorry. I didn't see that you were there. I would have held the door for you. Like this. And then right behind him comes a couple. It was this old couple. I was like, Jesus Christ, are you serious? And I'm just going, please don't smell. Please don't smell. Because it all happened in real time. I'm like, please don't smell. And I'm saying their doors closed. I'm like, oh, God, please don't. And I'm on the phone with somebody, and I'm like, yeah. I'm trying to make nervous conversation. There was no smell to my poot because I am a lady. But it could have been disastrous, and he was hot as hell. So,
have you ever had Kashi cereal?
I have.
And you didn't fart after Kashi cereal?
I don't know. I had it a long time ago.
Oh, no. Go get some Kashi cereal.
Okay.
That is just like nonstop flatulence.
Dude, I can't. I don't know what the fuck Zoe eats all the time.
Apparently Kashi cereal, whatever the fuck that is.
It's a very
for
healthy
every
cereal.
meal of the day.
It's a very healthy cereal.
Yeah, it's healthy, all right.
Yeah. Anyway, so that was my fart story. So, hey guys, welcome to Finances, the Other F Word. I wanted to share that with you. I just thought that would be super cool and of interest for you.
Yeah.
Today, of course, we have a lovely host, Zoe and Stormy, with me, and we are going to talk a little bit about what happens when you pull down you distribute your money too fast when you are going into retirement and the effects that the long-lasting effects it has on your money. But first, we're going to kick it over to Zoe, who's going to give us a little bit of information on our social media articles and get to welcome 2 new countries as listeners to our Finances, the Other F Word tribe.
Yes. Well, a lot of our articles in the past week have been about festivals.
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 Oh, those things.
Yes, it's festival season for the youngsters. Obviously, you wouldn't know anything about that. But yes, it's festival season, so a lot of the articles I've posted in the past week have been about festivals. Some of those articles have included the sad news that Tea in the Park, which is Scotland's biggest festival, is no more. It's yeah, I know you're
so
looking
gonna go,
forward to
Stormy.
that.
We were so going to go.
I know.
Is this because of Brexit?
No,
valid
it's
question.
not. Good, yeah, good question, but no. That's
no, it's probably just because it sucked.
That probably had a lot to do with it.
No, and no. But it ran from 1994 until. Thanks, Mel.
Thanks, Mel.
Sorry.
From 1994 until 2016, and then it was put on hold for various reasons, which we have discussed in other podcasts if you'd like to go back.
Yes.
But it's not coming back. So that was one of the articles.
Rip Tea in the Park.
There was another article that one of our top fans, Marianne, posted regarding the Epicenter Festival that she actually attended. And the article confirmed that the people who ran the festival, DWP, lost over $3 million from it. But yet they're going to give it another go next year. I'll be interested to know from Marianne if she would go again next year. So
Yeah.
let us
Yeah,
know.
and if you guys listen to her episode where I interviewed her about the experience, I'm really hoping that they change up the location because that seemed to be the key problem of the whole thing. I mean, you're going to get inclement weather in the south, but it just seemed like it was poorly planned.
And then there were a few articles about the Fire Festival this past week. One of them was that the island is now up for sale for just under
How much can I get it for?
just under 12 mil.
For the 12 mil for that island?
Yep.
Yeah.
With
the
no
tents?
power.
With the tents?
No,
No
because remember the
tents.
tents were on the other location.
Oh.
But Ja Rule
Okay.
has went on record recently and said that the Fire Festival will happen.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Okay.
And on a side note, I cannot stop watching Ja Rule videos. He has the sexiest fucking back. So I am literally
He's all right
the
from
other-
the back.
Have
Don't
you
look at
seen-
his eyes.
The other day, Zoe calls me, and I was like, I'm so glad you just called me. I had to pause. Literally, I'm not kidding you. Ja Rule, always on time video where he gets up in the morning and washes his face and his back's all fucking muscular. So
Like I said, only from the back,
Only
clearly.
from the back,
Because
right.
those eyes, googly.
Oh,
Anyway.
ouch.
It's too much.
Too much.
Anyway.
Not the worst you've ever done, but too much.
No, because we had to beep that
Yes,
out.
yes.
Andy King, the infamous event planner from the Fire Festival, who almost did the unthinkable for water.
Oh,
Remember
we
him?
never
Yes, I
talked
like-
about
yeah,
him on
absolutely.
the. So for those of you, okay, we got to fill in. So those of you who didn't see the documentary, our very first episode on the podcast was about the Fire Festival, and we were talking about all the mishaps, and somehow we totally missed the guy who admitted freely that he was going to go suck dick to get. What was it, like 2 semis of water out or something like that? And the worst part was, there was 2 things that were really bad about it. First of all, the guy, Billy
Billy McFarland.
McFarland.
Right.
expected him to do it.
Right.
So first of all, fuck you, Billy. You're an asshole. Second of all, the guy said in the documentary that he went home, showered, and brushed his teeth.
Yep.
I'm like, why are you brushing? I mean, I don't understand. If
Because he wants to be fresh.
I know,
for
but
this,
if you're,
his BJ.
but if you're gonna, it was just so weird for me. I was like, wow, what a weird thing to be concerned about. If you're gonna have to go do something like that for some asshole, and you're concerned about having fresh breath. I mean, class act as far as I'm concerned. But
Yeah.
Well, anyway, he became infamous for that.
Right.
for that, what we just talked about.
Absolutely.
I know. And the reason he was in the news is he's to get his own reality show.
Oh,
No
okay. So that paid
way.
off. That worked out.
Stop it.
So it all worked out. It worked out in the end.
Is that all I need to say? Live? and I get a reality TV show?
I know.
Well,
Wow.
no, you have to be. He was so prepared to do it that there was sweat trickling on
I
his
know,
brow.
and he was so genuine. I just wanted to
I
like
felt
hug
so,
him.
Yeah, I'm like, darling,
I
there's
wanted to
no
be
need.
like, I know, I'd
Don't-
be like,
no
you know what,
need.
sweetie, let's watch The Notebook together. It's okay, seriously.
Oh, it was not.
Don't-
It's never that bad, was
don't-
it?
It was pretty bad.
That you would watch The Notebook.
I would watch The Notebook with him. Yeah, I did actually
Okay.
see The Notebook, and I did cry.
Oh, I've never seen it, so I shouldn't really.
Oh, it's devastating, dude.
Yeah.
If you watch it when you're on your period, you'll never recover.
Oh,
Okay,
I'll be sure
well.
not to watch it then.
Yeah. Sticking with the Fire Festival and the said googly-eyed Ja Rule, he has had a recent legal victory where a judge has ruled that him hyping the Fire Festival didn't mean that he knew that attendees were going to get burned. So he's been effectively dismissed from the lawsuit that is continuing against Fire Media and Billy McFarland.
Now that's considered a class action, right? That's going on against Fire Festival right now. So was he like named in the class action?
My understanding was that he's named and no longer.
But the judge
in it.
said
You're
said
out.
no.
No.
So
Ja Rule and his mighty fine back and
yeah,
funky
and
eyes.
When you say
is
back,
happy.
are you talking like J-Lo back or?
no,
you're
I'm talking about his actual back.
Interesting.
Yeah, his
Okay.
like whatever the wings are
Okay.
and stuff. Yeah, and you know that's funny because I wonder. I'm assuming then any influencers were. I don't even think they were in the class action, but they were probably thrown off
Yeah, if he's
on
thrown
that
off,
too.
you'd imagine
Yeah,
they're thrown
yeah. I
off,
mean, Ja
absolutely.
Rule was like, you
Yeah,
know,
he
the
was
main.
much more than one of those silly
Yeah.
influencers. So,
Yeah.
so that's good news for him, I guess. So,
And his
happy
back.
for you both and your
Hopefully
future
he's still looking hot. I haven't seen him lately.
future nuptials.
Exactly.
Other festival news: Nicki Minaj was in the news because she wasn't going to participate in a music festival in Saudi Arabia, but she's now finally come to her senses and she's not going to participate. Then
Minaj.
there's Nicki Minaj. Then ongoing troubles still for Woodstock 50. They still are without a venue because the county denied its permit. So they're appealing that, but they have about 5 weeks to get it together for a 65,000 people
Fire festival all over again.
Festival where they haven't sold a single ticket. Well, they haven't sold any tickets, so no one's actually. They have the
Woodstock
lineup.
hasn't sold any tickets?
Well, no, because they don't have their permit.
They don't have a permit. They don't have a venue.
I'm so wondering why they didn't give them the permit. Probably because Woodstock, I think it was 99, was such a shit show when they burnt everything and the sewage was leaking from the honey buckets, was leaking into the fucking, ugh.
Well, they said that this time it was because originally it was going to be a 3-day festival. Now they're saying with camping, and now they're saying that it's going to be 3 one-day festivals with nobody camping, and it's all just a shit show.
It's a hot mess.
It's a hot mess.
Yeah, and pretty soon it's going to have to be Celebration Woodstock 51 because they're going to. Yeah,
right. Absolutely.
Shit.
So that's a shame. Couple of other articles that were posted this past week about music memorabilia, which we have talked about.
We did.
In another.
Schindler's List. Look it up. It's great stuff.
Don't make me laugh. Not that it's funny. Again.
Obviously,
no,
it
obviously
is.
Not.
Yeah.
So a few things that were in articles I posted this week were the Beatles' first contract with Brian Epstein sold for $275,000 recently.
Sounds like a good deal.
Yeah, I guess if you like.
If you're a diehard Beatles person, yeah.
Yeah. Olivia Newton-John is going to auction off some of her clothing from Greece, and the proceeds are going to go to cancer research.
And she had to get sewn into those pants, so that'll be interesting. Literally, they had to sew her into them. They were very tight.
Nice.
And she's been battling cancer herself.
And she has
really?
been. I think this is her second bout with it. She has a nonprofit that fights cancer
in Australia.
And she's also a Vegas resident. So what's up, Olivia?
Didn't know that.
Mm-hmm.
And finally, Tupac's letter. Are you going to laugh at me again? Tupac.
Thank you. Tupac's letter to Madonna.
Letter to Madonna is going up for auction, and the bidding is to start at $100,000.
So I got obsessed with this letter because Tupac is so freaking hot, and he also has I have a thing with backs.
Front or back?
He has other. So Tupac has a album where he's doing like this, and it's a picture taken from his back, and it looks so delicious. And so I got obsessed with this letter. I'm like, I'm finding this fucking letter, and I'm looking. So I'm scanning through all of these images, and they have different things blocked out that they consider to be obscene. I had to look through like 15 to 16 images to be able to piece the whole thing together, and it was very sweet. Some of it was sexual.
Tupac and Madonna had an affair?
Tupac
it had something going on? I didn't know that.
Yeah, and in the letter, Tupac basically told Madonna, he's like, hey, look, I'm sorry I haven't been, a good friend or a good, I don't know, whatever they had going on. And he said, but, for me, it would basically ruin my image because the people that supported me don't really want to see me with a white woman. And this is 94. I get it.
Right.
And he said, but for you, as a white woman, if somebody sees that you're dating a black man, would probably be that you're open and you're, exciting, and they might think, that it's exciting. But for me, it looks the other way. And then he goes through some nasty sexual stuff about Madonna and says that, he really seemed to care for her. And then at the very end of the letter, the sexual stuff was pretty good too, by the way. Then at the end of the letter, he put something about, hey, I want to be a better friend or something to you, and I would really, something to the effect of, I would really love it if you would come and give me a face-to-face visit, and he put a heart. And I was like, Tupac. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
you're back. What's up?
You can buy that for $100,000 if.
Yeah, no,
if
I don't
really
need it that.
Want to,
don't need it that bad, but yeah.
Okay, well, that's some of the articles that we posted in the past week. Secondly, we'd like to give a shout out to some new listeners we have in new countries.
What new countries do we have that just came online?
India.
What? Now, we talked about India. Shout out to India. We talked about them on our, which podcast was it where we talked about the bands from India?
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, so shout out to India. What's up?
Shout out. What's happening?
How you doing?
And Russia.
And Russia.
The only thing I know from Russia, I'm sorry, guys, is
vodka.
Elton. Well, yeah, vodka. Very true. You guys make stand-up vodka. Nikita from Elton John.
Not one of his best songs.
It was not one of his best songs, but I mean, it was during the Cold War, and it was a very sweet video. And so, shout out to our Russian fans. What's up? Thank you for coming on
Yep,
board and
thank
listening
you.
to our podcast. You guys rock.
Absolutely.
Keep spreading the word.
Spread it, spread it. So,
Dear.
almost.
Of course
Did you just
she
say
has to.
wet?
I did. But I almost said something much worse. And I
didn't.
started to say something bad, and then I think
Wow,
Zoe
this
was
is
coming
bad.
right behind me, and then we both just stopped
Stopped.
ourselves. Yeah.
Interesting.
So
So here's the interesting thing about Russia. You may not know.
what?
So Russia is what made me an international author. So my book, Power of the Platform.
Okay.
I
Is this a
received-
book plug? Go ahead.
No,
Get
no,
on
this
it.
is a book from Power of the Platform was reprinted in Russia back in like 2017.
In Russian?
In Russian.
Oh.
Different cover and everything. So I remember when I received a letter from the publisher saying, hey, you're now an international author, our book was requested to be published in Russian. So
Okay,
I've got
so-
that email someplace. And I'll find a picture. I'll send you a picture of it
Yes.
because it's written in Russian. I don't know what it says.
Oh, yeah,
but it's kind of
that'd
a
be
cool
cool.
cover of the book. I
Yeah,
think
we'll
that'd
put
be
it
cool
on.
to put
We'll
there.
put it on social media for our Russian listeners,
Absolutely.
and so
You can
so
find
they
it.
can go. Yeah, they can go pick up
Absolutely.
the book, and
That's
and
fabulous.
Yeah, that's
There it
actually
is.
really cool. So
See,
so
there's
are
my
you
Russian
basically
connection.
claiming that you're the Russian fans
They're
we have are
probably
just
his
because of you?
fans.
Yes,
They must
absolutely.
be.
That's what I'm
Yes.
claiming.
Yes.
Okay,
As a
and
matter of
and that
fact.
you're claiming India as well.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
So you have everybody that's in Europe and Australia because that's how you say it, and I guess I don't know.
Oh, you've got all the hundreds that we have in America. So,
Oh yeah,
yep.
yeah,
there
both
you
of
go.
them.
yeah, both of them. Wonderful. Whatever. Fuck you very
Hundreds,
much.
I said.
Whatever. Okay. So all right. So Stormy.
Yeah, what about me?
So, tell me a little bit about the kind of music that your parents and or
Oh, my.
older siblings listen to, and let's see if we know any of it and if any of it's actually good.
My parents, growing up, this was a Motown house.
As it should be.
Nice.
So, whether it were, the big names like the Temptations and Diana Ross, but it was everything Motown. The Isley Brothers, the Spinners, Junior Walker and the All-Stars. It was.
I've heard of them. I don't know what
come
they.
on,
I don't know what they
come
sing.
on.
I'll have to
I'm
put them on the
done.
list. I'll have to put
The
them on
Four
the
Tops. Have
the
you heard
list.
of them?
Of course.
Yes.
Okay,
What am I
yeah.
from Britain? Of course, I've heard about them.
I guess you got a point
I've heard of them.
You've heard from them?
I hear from them every week.
Yeah,
Way to
so-
plead your
Chat.
case. Awesome.
They were definitely.
Totally believable. By the way.
Yeah, definitely a Motown house. That's that's what they listened to. That's what I grew up as a kid listening to. So, kind of
And-
cool.
So okay. So
And I still can't dance.
yes. So that's. I would assume that's. I'm looking at you, and I'm just going to make a stretch. That's so a lot of Soul Train.
A lot of Soul Train.
Okay,
absolutely.
so here's a question for you.
Soul Train.
Every time I hear Soul Train, I still think of Soul Glow from
and
from
Soul
Coming to America.
Glow.
Okay, do you know who the first white performer ever was on Soul Train?
I'm going to take a guess that my guess would be Blondie, but I could be wrong. But I'm going to go with Blondie.
It's not. Shout out.
Okay,
to
I'm not going to go with Blondie.
No, okay,
I
don't
guess
go with
that's what I'm
Blondie.
not
All
gonna
right,
go with.
pick somebody else.
Ooh, let's see something. The first.
It's going to be a tough. It's going
Is
to
it
be
a male
tough
or
one.
female? Can you give us that?
Male.
Okay, it's a guy. Who do you say?
I'm just trying to think, but I don't know.
I can look it up on Google,
I
but
think
that would be a little
I
cheating.
did. I'm sure I heard it somewhere, but I don't know.
Ooh, you know what the other one I would have guessed? I would have guessed Tina Marie.
Yeah, no, and
Because
she
Tina
would
Marie,
make sense. She
Tina
would make
Marie
sense.
absolutely makes sense.
She would make
because
sense.
So if it's not Tina Marie,
It's David Bowie,
you know what?
and he came on.
That was going to be a guess, but seriously, it was going to be one of those guests that was just going to be so
Like a
far out
Hail
there.
Mary.
Yeah, not even a Hail Mary.
and you
just
know
so
what
far
he
out there.
sang was Fame. The song that we had talked about, because you were thinking it was Fame. No, that's Irene Cara. That's Fame. I'm in a little. No, this is
No.
David
Fame.
Bowie's Fame. So he was
What you
on
want?
Soul Train. So can you imagine, like David Bowie and us? And again, shout out to Lyle for that fact. But in all his David Bowie-ness, and he's like on Soul Train, and
Nice.
Fame is not a song you can dance to. Really, it's like. You're just kind of sitting there and you're like looking at this white guy on stage in the middle of a Soul Train. But I mean, you know what? All right, kudos to David Bowie.
David Bowie
So-
on Soul Train.
Yes, David Bowie. Google it. Make sure that we fact check Lyle. But I'm pretty confident that he is correct. But we're gonna Google it in real time and find out if that's true.
Well, he was definitely on Soul Train, and he sung Fame. So interesting. Just learned something.
Yeah, and that hollers back to our David Bowie episode, which was a fantastic episode for David Bowie fans out there.
You can find the video on YouTube, by the way.
Oh, and I
It's on
just
YouTube.
have to mention, because this was something else that came out in the news today, that Barbie is releasing a David Bowie Barbie.
Barbie.
Yes.
Barbie.
Yeah.
Barbie. What do you mean?
So
they're
like
making
a
David
male,
Bowie?
a male
Interesting.
Barbie, like
No,
a
female.
a female.
David Bowie inspired Barbie.
A female David Bowie. Oh yeah, you know what? I'm looking at it. Barbie gets David Bowie
What
makeover.
does she look like?
Oh,
She has
she looks
short
like
hair?
Ziggy Stardust.
Oh,
with
okay. So
long
she has
hair.
the red,
And the big round.
the big round dot in the middle of the forehead, or
Oh,
whatever.
not a wow. That thing's
Yeah,
It's
no,
huge.
it's a big. Yeah,
It's
it's
big,
like a
okay.
big. I don't know something, but
there it
yeah.
is. It's $50.
and then there's all the controversy right now because they're making a black version of the Little Mermaid.
Oh, that's with Halle Berry.
Yep.
Halle Berry
that-
is a Little Mermaid.
Oh, is she?
So
Is
what's
she voicing
the controversy
it?
there? I don't know.
But-
She's starring
because
it.
people are upset that she's gonna be black. That is the controversy.
Come on.
I looking it up, man.
Yep.
Halle Berry.
I mean, I'm like, who cares? It's a fucking cartoon.
What did you say? It's Moana? Wait, what cartoon?
Little
Little
Mermaid.
Mermaid.
Where are you getting? God, it's like we're not even in the same conversation, Stormy.
I don't understand the problem.
Yeah, so there's
No,
a whole.
no
so,
one else does.
And then they're like arguing that the Little Mermaid is Dutch or something, and so she can't be black. And it's like there's black Dutch people.
Wait
I
a
don't-
second. Hasn't just over the years, out of curiosity, hasn't there been many characters that were supposed to be black that were cast as white people?
Actually,
yeah,
there's
that's
been
absolutely happened.
Yeah, but there has been a ton of non-white Disney princesses. Moana,
Moana, yeah.
Pocahontas,
Pocahontas.
Aladdin, the Aladdin chickie. I don't have
Yeah.
kids, so I don't watch cartoons and shit. The Scottish girl. There has been a lot
Frozen?
of them, but
no, Frozen.
no, Frozen, I think, yeah. But I mean, but the point is that who cares? I don't.
who
I don't
cares?
really
It's a
care.
freaking
Yeah,
cartoon.
so it's ridiculous. So anyway, what spurred this whole conversation that we thought we'd cover today is also another article that Zoe had
Oh,
posted.
it's not Halle Berry. It's Haley Bailey. I always thought it was Halle Berry.
I don't know who Haley Berry is. Who is
Haley Bailey.
that? Okay, I don't know.
I don't know who she is either, but she's Ariel.
Awesome, that's cutting edge
She's
reporting
beautiful.
right there.
I don't know who she is, but yeah, she's cute.
Well, of course. I mean, she's going to be
Little
attractive.
Mermaid. Yeah, I guess you got a point there.
Yeah. So Zoe had posted an article, and this is the reason why this came about in regards to the title of the article about basically millennials borrowing money from their parents. And the name of the article is More Than Half of Millennials in Their 30s Still Banking on Mom and Dad. And this is on Yahoo Finance. And it gave a whole bunch of statistics, and it talked about how a lot of millennials are still not 100% financially independent from their parents in age brackets from 32 to 38 or something of that effect. And this is actually something that I find with a lot of my clients, and it's really important to understand what happens when people distribute their money too fast. And, growing up, like, your parents pay for everything. And to be fair, in the article, it said that a lot of the millennials wanted to be financially independent from their parents. So it's not like they're freeloading and, whatever, I mean, inflation has went up and everything. And you can read the article and there's a whole bunch of statistics in there. But I still have a lot of boomer clients who continuously give money to their kids. And these aren't millennial kids. These could be extra kids that are, in their 40s or whatever.
Really?
Yeah, so I have so many stories. I had a client who we were trying to do a financial plan for her, and she needed us to budget $400 a month so that she could go to Costco for her mid 40-year-old sons. And I was like, "Are you fucking serious right now? You got to be kidding! You have 3 able-bodied 40-something-year-old sons, and you have to budget with your retirement to take them to Costco." I'm like, "This is the most ridiculous crap I've ever heard."
Sounds right to me.
It does not sound right.
No.
Okay, then when your 2 kids keep calling you when they're in their 40s for money, then you remember this comment.
They're not calling me now for money.
Well,
I'm calling them for money.
Okay, well, that's put me on the list too. Yeah, give them a call, be like, "What's up,
I'm like, don't call me. You
dude?"
don't know me.
Well, dude, Mason is going to be the new fucking Neil deGrasse Tyson right there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But he needs to hook his dad up.
Okay, yeah. Well, then he
Forget
can.
about. You know what I tell my kids? I'm like, listen, if you guys get an education, and besides the education, you really put your mind to it, you can go buy this beautiful house, right, on the ocean. Just put a little small house in the back. I mean, nothing
For you.
spectacular, just small.
And Sandra.
No, that's for them.
Oh,
they need to go to me and stay in the big house. I mean, what
Yeah,
are you
I
talking
like your
about?
Yeah, you raised
style.
them.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you raised
I
them.
hooked them up. Then when I die, you can, take over the big house. I think that's a fair deal.
Yeah, I think that's a
know
fair
what?
deal.
And you know what? Or they can actually sleep in the garage, and I'll take the small house.
All right.
So Zoe and I can share. We're fine. We'll have like probably 40 cats, but it'll work.
At least.
Yeah. So, but this actually comes up a lot. And what happens is that, parents really want to help their kids. And so if their kids have a need, they'll do it. So I have some clients that will say, hey, they're going to take out, say, $40,000, and they are going to give it to their child so that their child can buy a car. Okay. And so this is what happens in the grand scheme of things, guys. So first of all, children, a lot of times you don't understand the limited resources your parents have. Okay, because everybody thinks that their parents are somehow loaded or they've been stashing away a lot of money. And so when you go to your parents, and this is millennials, this is Xers, this is whatever, you go to the boomer generation.
Wait.
That's who you're going to.
Let me just do a hashtag for Stormy Mason for what you just said.
Sure.
I just threw it in there.
What?
Hashtag Stormy Mason. When you said your parents don't have any money,
Oh.
I just wanted to hashtag them.
Hashtag them. Okay. All right. So
And Ethan and Emma.
Yeah,
also.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Get the hashtags in there. Absolutely.
yeah, and I'm just going to hashtag no kids, I rock. So my money, bitch. That's going to be my hashtag. But so what ends up happening a lot of times is that, the kids go, oh, and again, when I'm saying kids, I'm saying millennials, Xers. I'm not saying like 16-year-olds. And they say, hey, I need another car and, can you lend me some money? And they think, of course, that the parents have boundless amounts of money to lend. And I've had flat out fights with some of my clients because what they basically do is they say, hey, my son or daughter wants to buy a car and it's going to be $40,000. And the first thing I say is, well, do they have good credit? Yes. Okay. So let me get this straight. You have an investment that's, depending on the allocation, is returning, let's just say conservative 6% a year that you're going to pull out at the end of your earning curve. And what that means is that you can't replace that money. Once you go into retirement, you're in retirement. You're not earning any more money unless you go work part-time somewhere, but you're at the end of your earning curve.
Right.
So you're going to sit there and you're going to take, $40,000 in this example out of an investment portfolio, let's say that's averaging 6% a year, to give it to your kid to buy a fucking car when they could get a loan on it for 2 to 3%. So just from a numbers perspective, that does not make any kind of sense at all. But what happens is that when you have parents that are continuously pulling down their funds to help their kids in various ways, they don't have the time to recover like you do. So, for instance, if instead of taking that $40,000 from their parents and buying a car, they just got a fucking loan, okay? They could pay off the loan and still invest and have enough time that they could make all of that back and more. But your parents, who are maybe in their 60s, late 60s or whatever, they don't have the time to recover of that. And what ends up happening is that there's so much money that they're pulling down, and the money that's left over has to work so much harder in order to maintain the portfolio because you have less dollars trying to close the gap on what used to be a 6% return. So if you had $100,000 and it was returning 6%, and now $40,000 of it goes out the door for you to give, your son or daughter money for a car loan, now you have $60,000 with no time to recover if the market goes to shit like 2008. And what ends up happening is that you're in a situation now where you have less money, and I, as an advisor, have to then take on more risk to try to close the gap, because now instead of having $100,000 maintaining a 6% return, now I have to get the same 6% return with only $60,000. And what I tell my clients, and you have to be really careful of this, it's like, I understand you want to help your kids, but you could help in way other ways, because what's going to happen is that if you continue to help your kids and the kids don't understand that, hey, every time I have my parents take a big chunk of money out, it's actually detrimenting them.
Right.
What's going to happen is that they're going to run out of money and be living in your fucking house. You know what I'm saying? Because if you're going to your parents and you're saying, hey, I need this car, or I need to, buy this house, or I need to do any of the thing is that they have less and less money for their retirement, which means that at some point they're not going to actually be able to fund their own retirement, which means that they're going to be moving in with you. And this happens so much.
And nobody wants that.
Oh, I mean, I don't know. You guys have kids. You tell me.
I want to go. I want to go move with the kids.
You want to move in with your
Yeah,
kids?
I want to move with them. This way, all the years I've changed wiping their ass and changing their diapers,
That's
I
your
can
turn?
get it in return.
Yeah, your turn. He's going to get the extra soft wet wipes.
The wet wipes.
Yeah, Dollar Store has some really good ones. Just saying. But and this is so when your parents are in this cycle, it's called the distribution cycle. There's the accumulation phase, which is where everybody's saving money and everybody's investing money, and then at the point that you hit retirement, you're now in the distribution phase. And everything that you do in the distribution phase is like dropping a pebble into a pond and ripples out, and can be very devastating for, again, we're talking about boomers, for boomers that are living well into retirement. And so it's important that you understand how detrimental your actions can be. And most of the boomer generation, the generation is not known for sharing their financial situation with their kids. So a lot of times you don't realize how bad off they are until they have to move from the nursing home and come move in with you, or, a variety of different reasons. And so that's a really important thing. This is for boomers, this is for Xers, this is for millennials, that you want to understand, exactly where your parents are financially, so you know what your future liability can be for them. And then on top of that, you need to make sure that you're making smart decisions, and that even if it's easier to go borrow money from your parents, that you do the best to not do that in any way, shape, or form, or really it's going to kind of come back and bite you in the ass. And so, again, that's the distribution phase, and we'll get into that more later. But right now, I just kind of wanted to lay the concept out. That was weird. Concept? What did I say? Concept?
What if the parents did this? Let me ask you a question. Would this work? It takes a disciplined parent, though.
Okay.
They have to be willing to repossess the car. But let's say if they took a loan out of their 401k IRA or insurance policy at an interest rate, they're taking a loan, they're paying the interest back to themselves, but then they're also charging their kids interest on the loan that they borrowed, with the threat that the kid would believe, because you have to be willing to act on it, I'm going to repossess your stuff if you don't pay.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So as long as, I can't get into every situation is different. So, we'll take that example, and we'll take out the fact that when you pay life insurance back, there's different taxations on the payments that you're making, even if you are paying yourself back, and we'll take all of that extra kind of sticky stuff off. If you do have the fortitude that you can say, hey, I have this money, I'm going to lend it to you, and you're paying me back at X percentage.
Right.
And you can get it from another source. So, for instance, if you have it in a savings account that it's making, 50 bips or 0.50% interest, and you lend it to your child at 2% interest, with the understanding that if they don't pay you, you will have the balls to take the car back.
Right.
And then you accept the fact that you're going to be stuck with a car that you didn't plan on, that you didn't want, and still be out the money.
Right.
Technically, that would be a good investment, right? Because
Absolutely.
You're taking an asset that's making 0.50%. You're lending it to somebody at 2%. You have a net gain of 1.5% if you're provided to follow through. But so many of the people I deal with, and I feel like kind of an asshole when I talk to them, because of the simple fact that, when their loans to their children go south, which happens a lot, they let it go.
Can I share a money lending secret that I learned from my dad years ago? And it is by far and away the best secret ever.
Okay.
Seriously. Zoe, your kids are younger than mine. Mm-hmm. Trust me, this secret works like magic. So my dad, and this is back in the day, my dad would always loan someone $5 or $10 with the expectation that they're not going to pay him back, right? And remember, back then, $5 or $10 was probably like $20, $50 today.
Right.
It was like you need, and his family, friends and family members. Hey, Al, can you loan me some money? Oh, sure, absolutely. What do you need? When are you going to pay me back? He would specifically ask for the terms, and then he would hope and pray that the person never paid him back. Because what happens is, in his mind, he's like, I've got that person bought off for a very, very small investment, meaning that now that person can never come back. So I have some friends and family members that I've loaned a 20 to, and it's been the best 20 ever, because those are the friends and family that are always hitting people up for money. But every time I see them, I'm like, hey, you got my money, from like 2 years ago? And they're like, no, I'll get it. Okay. And I'll just leave it alone. Well, every time they ask people for money, they never come back to me because they know I can't go to Stormy because
I already owe them money.
Yeah.
Right.
And then I haven't paid them back. So, and my dad did that to me. He got me for like $10. So once I didn't get my dad paid back for $10, I was stuck. I can never go back to my dad for money for $10. So he got off the hook for $10, and that was the best the best lesson ever.
Yeah, but kind of disheartening though.
It's not disheartening. If you don't pay me back, I'm not going to loan you money.
Yeah, I know. But
and if you pay me back, you can come back. But most, I don't want to say most people, but a lot of people don't pay things back. And that's just the way he would set it up. Hey, I'll buy you off. I'll gladly buy you off for a 20. So I have people in my book that owe me, lots of people that owe me $20 or $100 or a relatively small amount, but now they can't come back to me again. Because I don't like saying no to people, but I also don't like being taken advantage of. Mm-hmm. If you say you're going to pay me back, here are the terms. When are you going to pay me back? Okay, I don't want to come looking for you. And then when that day comes and goes, if I get paid back, I win. If I don't get paid back, I win. That's the way I see it. Is that disheartening? Is that wrong?
No, I mean, I'm a bitch. So, I mean, if you're gonna lend money, first of all, make sure that you don't care if you get it back. But then you have to, you got to know that you owe that person. And so there's a Family Guy episode where
Where's my money?
Stewie, do you know what I'm talking about?
That's the best
it's hilarious.
Ever.
We will have to post that on our social media where Stewie lends Brian money, the dog, and it was like, I don't know, $50 or something like that. And the next day he's like, hey, do you have my money? And he's like, oh yeah, whatever, I'll pay you back. And he's like, you have my money, bitch? You got my money, bitch? And then for like a week, Stewie kicks Brian's ass every single day saying, you got my money, bitch? And
you
it's
definitely have to post it. It's hilarious. Absolutely. Where's my money?
It cracks me up. So I will do that when this episode airs. So anyway, so that's just a little bit about basics of financing, is because time is your friend. So when you're younger, the more time you have to recover and the more time you have to be invested, the better off you're going to be. And when you're talking about baby boomers and you're talking about the oldest of the Gen Xers, they just don't have time to recover, and that's that. So out of this, I ended up calling my mother, and
What'd you call her?
I called her. I just called her on the phone.
Okay, just curious.
And
Can I borrow
God,
50?
yeah, my mother's a lot of things, but you don't call my mother a bitch.
No.
Yeah.
Did you say, hey, Mom, can I borrow 50?
Yeah, I know. I'm like, how about a $5?
Yeah.
You to buy me off? So anyway, so I knew some of the bands that she had listened to because, of course, I was in the car in the 80s. And for y'all millennials, let's just go back old school again, cassette tapes. Okay, so in the cars, it was cassette tapes. Now, I was super, super, super young when 8-tracks were just on their way out.
I remember the 8-tracks.
Me too. My mother had Breakfast in America, Supertramp, which is a great CD, but she had it on 8-track. Then she got it on cassette. But so we would get in the car to go to the mall, which I really miss the mall culture. I got to be honest with you, because that's where you hung out. And in hot-ass Vegas, now I guess the kids do it. Your kids do it, right, Zoe, where they go to the mall, but it's an outdoor mall, and it's like 108 degrees, and they're all fucking hanging out in an outdoor mall, which is crazy. And we'd put in a tape, and off we went. And so, of course, that's my mother is the one who turned me on to Who's Zoomin' Whom by Aretha Franklin, which we've talked about multiple times on this. She also was very heavily into Bryan Adams. What's up, Canada?
Adams, yeah.
What's up, Canada? Holler out to you guys. And it was two of them. It was one where he was doing this thing with like a guitar, and then there was another one that had kind of like a blue background. It was like Run to You and Cuts Like a Knife and all this stuff. Mm-hmm. And of course, she liked MJ. So that was, good. And Supertramp, we talked about. Tom Petty, she liked, which we've talked multiple times in this podcast. I love him. Santana, Bette Midler, Kraftwerk.
I remember Kraftwerk.
Kraftwerk.
Absolutely.
Kraftwerk. And I told
me
her.
and your mom, we could have been like partying together.
Dude, oh no.
I like everything she listens to.
She's going to get weird in a minute. So no, yeah. So I sat there and I said Kraftwerk. I was like, didn't they put out one CD? Isn't it the one where they're all in red? Isn't that Kraftwerk? Can you look up their? Maybe I'm thinking of something, but I thought Kraftwerk was like literally one CD, and she said no, they had like 2 or 3 CDs. George Thorogood, Bad to the Bone. My mother loves that song still. REM, which is.
I loved REM.
Yeah,
Sorry.
I mean REM was a little too light for me, but I liked REM. The Cars, Bruce Springsteen, Tina Turner, and Queen. But then.
Yes, they were a lot of red.
Yes. Okay. So that's like one. Did they have more than one CD? Because I swear I thought they only had one CD. And the thing that's so fucking crazy about Kraftwerk is that one CD. What's the title of that CD?
I think it was a Das Model. Autobahn. Wasn't it called Autobahn?
I don't know. The one where they're all wearing red. So if you watch any rock documentaries, there are so many people that quote that Kraftwerk was a influence on them. And
Tour de France.
Is it Tour de France?
Yes, because really there was the Tour de France. Tour de France.
Yeah, I don't.
Tour de France.
There's some obscure, weirder than Devo band that apparently I thought only had one CD that was very influential for some reason. But apparently they had a couple, and my mother let me know that. But then, and of course we like Zeppelin. But then, my mother is, very different in her musical taste than me. She is very big into the Gypsy Kings.
The Gypsy Kings.
Gypsy
Nice.
Kings.
It's all
They're
about
like
the Gypsy Kings.
kind of Spanish-y flamingo, but kind of, I don't know. And Little Feet.
Oh, Little Feet.
Do you know Little Feet?
Little Feet and Gypsy Kings? We
Yeah,
used to
he
party
doesn't know.
together.
Okay, and Acoustic Alchemy.
Oh,
I don't even know these people.
No.
So when she was talking to me, I was like, who are we talking about?
right.
And in Inya, which we remember from
Inya,
the
right.
80s. And so my mother was always into, very new agey, kind of music. And we kind of bonded over Tom Petty. And she also likes Bette Midler, which, Bette Midler did have a singing career. And I mean, she had a couple songs, but I was never super into her. And of course, Bette Midler's done a couple residencies here. And I've heard she's not very nice.
Really?
Yeah, I've heard. I've had people that
What a shame.
friends that have worked security for her,
Yeah.
and they said she was a total bitch.
Really?
Yeah, which is very sad. So
Absolutely.
my mother, we tried to bond over music the best way we could. So there was a lot of repeating tapes of Who's Zooming Who and Bryan Adams and everything like that. But yeah, so if you guys want some Spanish weird guitar something, then look at the Gypsy Kings. And I don't even know what the fuck Little Feet is, but I've heard her say it multiple times. I don't even know what kind of music they are. I have absolutely
you know
no
what?
idea.
I was thinking Happy Feet.
Oh.
That's with the penguins,
Yes,
right?
with the penguins.
Yeah, not
My
the
bad.
same thing.
Yeah,
Not the same as Little
no,
Feet.
this is Little Feet. This
Little
is
Feet,
Little
my
Feet
bad,
that
my
I
bad.
don't know what it is, but I'll put them on the playlist.
Okay. Will you put Happy Feet on the playlist?
I
too?
will put
Thank you.
I will put Happy Feet on the playlist, and then hopefully you guys will will have a Happy Feet and Little Feet and all kinds of feet on the.
Yeah, and let us know which feet's best.
Yeah, if anything, my mother will enjoy the
Ooh,
playlist.
I wonder if there's a band called Toe Jams.
Ew, come on. I hope not. Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna check.
So what was your father listening to over in Britain?
Okay, so I did, I can remember, but I also did FaceTime my dad in England to have a chat with him. My mum is in France at the moment, so just so she doesn't get pissed off that I didn't, we're not
include
talking
her.
about, I didn't include her. She's in France, so, but I FaceTimed my dad just so as we could have a little reminisce. Our house was always filled with music because we all loved music. But my dad is one of these people who will, once he likes something, he will play it over and over and over and over again. And I have
do the same
inherited
thing.
that. So we
the same thing.
would be in the car with a cassette, and he would, if he liked that song, we would have to listen to it like fucking 10 times. But
Reptile by the Church that's my repeat song. I'll put it on the playlist. It's fucking amazing. Guitar is crazy. Go ahead.
Okay. So, his favorite bands, he said, were Pink Floyd, Led Zeppelin, Santana, Genesis,
stuff.
The Who, Rolling Stones. He was really into that kind of stuff. But he reminded me that I was actually conceived at a music festival.
No. Glastonbury.
No, but I'm getting to that in a
Okay.
minute. I actually have...
Nobody's conceived at Glastonbury.
I bet they are. But I have a photograph of the flyer from that festival, which was in 1972. So I will post it onto our social media.
That'd be great.
So
So we could all reminisce on the day your dad knocked your mother up. That's
Right.
awesome.
yeah, in the back of a van, just so as we
Nice.
were all very
I was
clear.
gonna say like exactly how did that go down? Were people on stage? No, they had some privacy and classiness
What
by
kind of
doing
van?
it in a van, right?
I've not really gone
I
that
bet you it was a
deep into
VW
it.
bus van.
It might have been.
Those were popular back then.
Yeah,
Well, I'll call back and get the specifics on my
that'd be great.
Please do.
I would like
conception.
I
if
would like
you'd like.
duration and
But I
all
thought
that
this
stuff.
was music. So
It all goes together.
some of the
Sex,
people,
drugs, and rock and roll, baby.
some of the people playing at that.
Obviously, if your mother got knocked up at a music festival, were they
True.
doing drugs when they were? They
Of course
were.
they were.
So,
he was a
so they
hippie.
literally had sex, drugs, and rock and roll going on.
She was 17. He was 20. He was a hippie.
Oh, she wasn't
There
even
was
legal.
Cheech and Chong. Yeah, they're 16 in England.
Oh,
so,
wow.
16.
Yeah.
Oh,
Wow, it's like the South up in here.
I'll
Okay.
tell you.
So Cheech and Chong, Hawkwind, and Captain Beefheart were some of the people that were playing at the festival that I was conceived at.
Wait, Cheech and Chong had a band? I thought they were just comedy.
No, they were musicians.
Yeah, well, at the end of I think it is Up in Smoke. He dresses like in a tutu. Cheech does, and they're singing something. So I don't know if they were just doing something similar to that. But yeah, they in Up in Smoke they were being a band.
And so anyway, some of the other people that my dad liked were Bob Dylan, Cat Stevens, James Taylor, Carly Simon, Joan Baez.
Very hippie.
Yeah, he was very hippie at that time. He went to a lot of live gigs, even when we were kids. They went to a lot of. He saw lots of live bands. He told me that he went to the first ever Glastonbury, and we were talking about that and bonding about that. But then when I dug a bit deeper, I was saying to Mel earlier that I don't think he did, because he said, oh, this is before it was called Glastonbury. It was called the Bath Festival, and it was in 1970. And I saw The Who, and Donovan flew in on a helicopter, and Yes played. And
Yes. My mother loves Yes as well.
And I was drinking... I drank about a gallon of cider and passed out before Pink Floyd played, who were his favourite. And when I was looking it up, all of those people he mentioned actually played at the Bath Festival. And Michael Eavis, who runs the Glastonbury, was at that same festival and got the inspiration from Glastonbury from that. And then later that year started Glastonbury. So I think my little dad might be a little bit confused.
But did that other guy conceive anybody?
Yeah, he conceived the Glastonbury.
Well, okay,
so
there you go.
He conceived in Glastonbury, and plus his daughter, I think her name's Emily or something, now runs Glastonbury with him, and she's probably about my age. So who knows? We might have all been conceived
He might be
at the
your
same
dad.
age.
But I'm with your dad. I think that would be that was the yeah. I think your dad's right.
To which bit? That he was at the first ever Glastonbury?
Absolutely. That was the first Glastonbury.
Okay. Well,
No, I think he was at Bath, but like father, like daughter, neither one can remember what
neither
the fuck they
we
are.
were. He told me to say that he peaked too soon, and he missed Pink Floyd because he was too.
Oh, I thought you meant like.
No, we're not talking
Like he
about.
peaked
No,
too
we're not
soon.
talking
Right.
about
You're
that
talking about
festival.
basically he got way too wasted.
Yes, we're talking
Oh,
about the
gotcha.
other festival. But yes, so but music's he loves his music, and they're some of his favorites, but he still listens to music every day now. And he said some of the things he's listening to right now are Mumford and Sons, Jackson, Tom Walker. No idea who these
I don't
people
know who
are.
Tom Walker is.
Yeah.
I think they're in
I know
English.
Mumford and Sons. And Mumford and Sons actually did the same thing with their music catalog, following the steps of David Bowie. If you refer to our David Bowie podcast, we talked
really?
about the Bowie bonds. Mumford and
Smart
Sons did
move.
the same thing. They are.
And he also had a little folk music period in his life too.
I thought that was all folk music.
Yeah. What was it?
I know. How much folkier can you get than Carly Simon and fucking...
The Strawbs.
Oh, the Strawbs. I forgot about them.
Yeah, that's more folk rock, he said.
Folk rock. What are they called again? The Strawbs?
I don't know. You know what?
Strawbs.
In a
Yeah.
way, I
Strawbs.
don't even want to ask because then I'm going to have to
Steel
find
Eye
all this.
Span,
Then I'm
The
going to have to
what?
find all this
Steel Eye
music and
Span,
put it on the
and
list.
Fairport Convention. They were other folk groups that he liked.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's seen a bunch of people live, and he's seen Rolling Stones. I mean, he's just seen a bunch of people.
Are you
live.
the only child he's ever conceived at a concert, though, that you know of?
Yes. That I know of.
Okay.
So that's so we grew up listening to music. The one album I remember listening to a bunch is the Genesis album. I think it's Mama, where Phil Collins has got his face on the front, and I just love that song because I remember listening to it over. And
Are you talking
over
about No
and over.
Jacket Required, where it's just his face? Because that's not Genesis. Because I mean, I'm not familiar with Genesis CD covers, but No Jacket Required had just Phil Collins' face, and it was kind of red.
I don't know if that's the name of the album, but
Oh,
the
okay.
song I'm talking about is Mama.
Oh yeah, we'll have to add it. To be honest with you, I've never heard Mama before.
It's a great song.
Even though Phil Collins is amazing drummer and has a great voice, and hollered him. He was here not too long ago, and Michelle went, and tickets were very expensive, and his son is on drums now.
Yep, I heard that.
Interesting.
Yeah, because of Phil Collins. So, and I just wanted to real quickly, as we continue to see the map and we continue to see different countries come on board, I'm gonna get pseudo mushy right now.
Okay,
Which-
let's hear it.
And I'm not on my period, so I'm just letting you guys know. I just wanted to give a sincere shout out to the listeners, here in the United States and abroad. We've put out a little over 20 podcasts right now. We love what we do. We love talking about music. I love talking about music and teaching you guys about finances. And I'm hoping that, you're obviously subscribed to the podcast and you like it. But from me, in all seriousness, I just want to send my sincere appreciation to the listeners in all of the countries and the new listeners that are coming that are probably going to be listening to this podcast, much, much later, that you give us the ability to have such a good time, and that me as a professional in the finance industry that is very buttoned up still and very conservative, you actually give me an outlet to be myself and be able to help you and hopefully help you on your financial journey too. And and I think about it all the time when we do the podcast, and I've never actually said it. So I just want to tell you guys with whole heart, I really appreciate you guys, and I thank you for giving me an outlet to be me.
Well, you know what? Since you started that, I just want to add on to that.
Okay.
Is that I went on Facebook, and there's actually a band called Toe Jam out of New Zealand.
All right. So that's good. I'm glad that he broke it. I'm glad he broke that. I was almost right. So there's another. So, okay, I don't know why I went from Toe Jam. There's another band that's a metal band. And I can't remember. Oh, I think they're called Oakley Dokley, and they all dress like Ned Flanders from The Simpsons. And everybody knows, we've seen social media, again, for the 8th time, I love The Simpsons. I love Futurama. They're a heavy metal band. They all dress like Ned Flanders, all of them. And they sing songs about different songs from catchphrases from The Simpsons. So there's, for my Simpsons listeners, you'll know there's a point where Todd, Ned Flanders, and Maude Flanders' kid is hanging out with Homer too much, and they said, hey, Todd, eat your vegetables. He's like, I don't want to. And she's like, what'd you say? He's like, I said I don't want any damn vegetables. So they have a song that's called I Don't Want Any Damn Vegetables, and it's like, I don't want any damn vegetables, and like they're destroying the stage. And there's another band that usually plays with them, and I can't remember what they're called, but they dress all up like McDonald's characters, and they're also another metal band. So like there's a Grimace, and there's like Ronald McDonald, and they usually play together, and it's just absolutely insane. So I think it's Oakley Dokley. They are pretty popular within the Simpsons community, and they're good songs. But I mean, obviously their stick is The Simpsons, which I approve of.
If my memory serves me correct, I think the band you're referring to is Mac Sabbath.
Mac Sabbath, that's
yes,
right. That's
remember.
Yes, that's the McDonald's
just looked
one.
them up on Google.
He's like, I remember because I just looked it up on, So Mac Sabbath is the one that dress all like McDonald's characters. And actually my hair guy turned me on to them and told me about it. I was like, what? Does that even exist? So the point is that there's all kinds of music out there for everyone.
Then I should start singing.
You should not do that.
You said for everyone.
Well,
I might get us a few extra countries. I'm a sex symbol.
Yeah, I know. Because apparently every new listener we get belongs to one of these other two, but that's whatever. It's okay. I'm fine. I'm secure. I'm secure in my myself. So, and as always, please follow us on social media at Finance is the Other F Word. Zoe posts a lot of articles on our Facebook feed. We try to keep you up to date. We got a lot of good fun stuff going there. You can find pictures of us just acting fools and everything like that. You can always follow us on Amped Cheddar, Instagram at Finance is the Other F Word. And of course, our book, Finance is the Other F Word, is also on Amazon with 10% of net proceeds going to support PAWS, providing animals with support, and Forgotten Not Gone for veterans. And I think that's all I got.
Can't add more to that.
And I feel like I didn't breathe a lot during this episode.
Yeah,
so I feel like
good.
editing's going to be easier.
There you go.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you so much. We'll see you next time.
Bye-bye.
Okay, cheerio.
Thank you for listening. If you like the show, please rate and review us and tell your friends.